Welcome.
Thank you, Bapu. Question is there any difference between Jesus and Buddha?
In what way do you mean? They're different beings from different eras. So what else would you mean?
I would say in terms of their function.
They had a different purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of what they were able to bring to people, maybe you could say like a certain type of light or a certain type of...
Well, it's a matter of understanding what it appears that Jesus' purpose was, like to show people not to be afraid of death. That's a similarity with the Buddhist. They consider what's going on to be deathless. So it's good to have a handle on the basis for why certain people show up. What is their real teaching? What brings them here? See? What do you think? In other words, what would you think would happen if Jesus and Buddha met on the road? Right? They would know each other, obviously. Without traditional sort of egotism. See? They may recognize each other as brothers, in a sense, with different but the same mission, which is to heal the people, teach the people how to love, how to look into each other as heart beings, which is a very important, I guess you might say, consideration of a basis for a relationship. Right? So it wouldn't be a matter of who's better, who's smarter, right? Because when you look at it properly, where are they the same? They are beings who were known to be compassionate towards humanity. Jesus in his way, even though he got a bad deal from his humanity, maybe. Seems like he did, but it didn't matter to him, which is the beauty of Jesus, see? So it didn't matter. You didn't hear him complaining about it. He said, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they do. It's very heroic, and super intelligent. It's like he was a transcendent spirit. See? In other words, the Father was going to take care of them. That's the kind of quality of detachment he had. They don't know what's going on. Lord, Father, whatever. They can't know what's going on yet.
Could that be a similar view of like that he knew what their karma would be by doing that? Is that seeing it in that light?
Explain.
By Jesus saying, Father, they don't understand what they're doing, does that mean that he understood the laws of karma and that?
Oh, obviously.
Nature?
Yeah, obviously. I think it was even deeper than that. He knew they were going to be okay, because everyone ultimately is okay, no matter how you meet your death. Death is not the end, and that's an important, very deep consideration. That there is death, you die, but then there's no death. There's no death. Because the body goes to earth, but where does the soul and the spirit go to? Because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not going anywhere. Because you can't see it, you can't see where it's gone to. See, come in.
So yeah, I'm curious about your just saying that death is not the end. What would be your take about what happens to us as beings or souls, spirits?
Well, on the physical level, we don't know. We don't know on the physical level. See? But we may know psychically. See? And there is such a thing, believe it or not, as ghosts. disincarnate entities. I'm not saying it's good or bad or real or fake or whatever, but the spirits leave the body and they're off into the next dimension. Sometimes it appears that they stick around for a while to finish up their business, and then other times they just disappear, go on to their next plane of reality. See? They go on to the next dimension of their existence, or the next stop on their journey, so to speak, which is probably more appropriate. See? And we say, well, how long is that journey? It could be infinite. Who knows? See? For some, it's short, perhaps. For others, it's closer to the infinite. There's no end to it. Depends on the individual, what they understand, what they've done, who they are, and what their relationship is to the spiritual. That factors into it. So it is an important topic, speculative, of course, but it is an important topic. See. We know that Jesus was going to heaven. He was there in the presence of his Father, and so he may have ascended. People may have claimed to have seen the light of his being ascended, and the heavens open up, and these kinds of, I guess you might say, effects and stories, or facts. And so there you have it. He has that extraterrestrial kind of signature at the end of his life. See? And so this is part of his message to everybody. You see, he's not the only one who has that. We may all be subject to a comparable heavenly solution in many cases. See? Because some of us feel connected with that. We're open to that. See? Not that we're believers, we just know it as being part of the process. Yeah. Comment on the Buddha. I'm not saying I'm a historian on that, but yeah, there's much to look at in the case of the Buddha, who was a yogi, one of those kinds of gurus or masters who had infinite awareness and power. So he was enlightened, he was awakened, he was opened up, and he's ready to share his wisdom. Right? The wisdom being with whoever needed it, and so it's clear that for the history of the Earth planet, he has played a very important part in terms of helping people to recognize the monastic side of life and the subtle side of life and the spiritual side of life from the point of view of yogic meditation practice and phenomena.
Yeah, so on this topic of the Buddha, Jesus,
yogis,
monastics, knowing about what happens after our lives, at death. So does this practice of quieting down, meditation, going within, does that help to prepare somebody for death, or does that allow somebody to?
Well, it's a form of dying. We're living, but we're also dying at the same time. And that's part of the paradox. When we go to sleep, there's a little sort of like perception of disappearing and death, if you can call it. Not being here, and leaving your body on the bed, as if you were dead. In some cases, I had a few relatives who slept. And you saw they were dead, they were just so deep in their sleep. So death is part of life. Death is life. We're dying now. We've come here to die, and I say that in a good way, not a morbid way, falling into the graveyard, and then, you know, assuming that that's your final destination, when I don't mean it in that kind of way. See, we're here to die to understand what life is about. See, so it's in our understanding of life. We're here to witness people who die, know people who die, so that we can appreciate the fact that we're here to give up our bodies. We're here for a time and then we're gone. See, so it's a way of respecting life, respecting our spiritual, as you might say, destiny as spirits. When you have to leave, you know, gonna leave. You will be made and brought to leaving somehow or other. We're here for a visit in this form, and then there is the joy and the glory of leaving this form, inevitably because of the nature of life and the cycles of time that we're given as human beings. And we create that. We create how long we're going to be here, even though the body has a certain determination of how long it can exist. There is the mind that has something to do with that as well, and ancestry. It's something we can say is part of the continuation of the species, of the race, and of, let's say, the ancestry. It's all part of this, your ancestry. See? And so this is it. They had to go. They're all gone, right? And, you know, that's okay. See, the millions and billions before us are gone, and they've gone on, and, you know, we're cool with that. You know? So everyone has to go, and so that's part of the process of becoming awake to the body and awake to what is not the body, what is beyond the body, and what is of the spirit, and what is of space, and what is of death in a certain way, but it could mean space. It could mean the essential heart essence that nobody sees or people cannot see easily, but we are that. So we're more than what we appear to be. See, we are endowed with greatness, spiritually speaking. We have genius in all of us, hidden often, but manifest for those who can see it and understand it. It's part of our perfection. See, and doing things that are seemingly difficult to do, but you know, we can be driven to excel and exceed our assumptions and limits of ideas and beliefs, and become more super aware or supernatural in a sense. See? And I don't mean that in an ego way. I mean, we have power that certain conditions that arise in life enable us to wield that power and show that power, whereas prior to that condition, we didn't even know we had that power. See?
Yeah, so having known people, friends, family who have passed on, yeah, is there any way to have a sense of where they go afterwards? You know, whether they go to heaven or whether they go to hell, or is there a way of determining how that?
Well, sometimes, you know, they connect with the living. And sometimes shortly after they pass, they show up in some form or other. This is something which is common. This is not extraordinary. This is common. Because they're still connected with the family and the blood and the ancestry and the love of you know, the people they were born to or love. So this is part of it. They can come back. They show signs. They can, in the spirit, they can do things that are unusual. And when they need to, depending on the spirit and the situation, they can make contact with certain people. They can visit people in dreams, for sure. See? They can whisper messages to other people for you, and you get the messages. So that's part of it, you see. Because they died doesn't mean they're going to be going to hell because they were bad, or what we would perceive as bad. It's possible that in their badness they suffered enough to go to a higher place. That's not something we can determine, because there's the interdimensional factor. After they pass, they may be greeted by elders in their family or elders from other families and other, let's say, acquaintances, right? Relatives.
Yeah, so we're discussing this topic of life and death and what might happen to us at the end, and you just started saying in terms of spiritual practice and teachings that there is no death in that sense. And
well, the body dies, but there's no soul death to speak of. The soul is not the flesh. See? And so this is something that we discover in the process, but you have to undergo the process to know that. See? So enough beings have commented and had enough experiences to justify the idea that, well, the body dies, but not the soul. The soul moves on. See? The soul has to move on. See? And then we get to the point of this reincarnation. So the soul reincarnates. In some cases, it has to keep learning, to keep developing, and keep the wheel of life and time rolling. So there is death, but then there is no death. So it's a paradox. See, what dies and what does not die. See, who dies and who does not die. See. Come on. It's common to be with friends, and sometimes people who have family that just passed over. And then one of those individuals will say, I just felt the presence of the person who just passed. I just felt like he or she's around me or something. Or I smelled her. People smell perfume, that perfume that person wore, and they're not around. See? So there's something going on with it. It's not make-believe. It's not like they're imagining it. It's a fact. See? And sometimes if the smell is strong enough, then other people smell it. What are they lying? Were they faking it or something? So it's something that has to be acknowledged. It's part of the process. Someone left, and they left their perfume behind.
Or their odor,
Their odor.
Doesn't necessarily need to be
their smells. Right. Comment? Without having anything to prove to people, we who are here have been here before. And will probably be here again. Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. It's, let's say, it's a process of continuity. So all of this is now, but it's also before and after. Yeah. And then we have a concept of time and space, and there's before and there's after. There is above and there is below. There's forward and there's back. See? And we're all of it. We are the trees here. Since we are incarnate, and we're limited to primarily feeling our body, but yet we can sense the presence of the trees. We can hear the creatures in the forest here. See? So we can see the sun setting. So we're part of the whole thing. We're part of Earth and space But it's also good to know that. See, that we are life itself, even though we have a particular form. See, so the form is not who we are as much as what we're working with for the time being. And we are more than we think we are. We have names, but that doesn't satisfy the fact of our prior incarnations or subsequent incarnations. See? We're all of it. We're the past, we're the present, and we are the future. See? We are our own future, but then it's not the future. It may be the past again. See?
Yeah, I've been reading your text entitled "The First Guitar Mappa," and you mentioned to work on treating everything as already done, like already complete, already finished. Is that in line with mastery or enlightenment and how to look and view the world?
Right. That's true of Nowness, which is that you might say is an aspect of enlightenment, is being here now. No time yet. There could be time, but there's no time. We're just here now. That's the ultimate fact. We are here now, considering time, past, present, future, and so on and so forth. Because we have a mind that can process and extend itself into those concepts and ideas and dimensions. See? Memory. Memory. We are memory. We are vision. See? We're the future. We can project ourselves. We can be the future. See? And the past is where we were. It seems we were in the past and projecting to now. See? So now is a projection of the past and also a projection into the future. Here now. All of it. None of it. Here now.
So in that case, what can be useful for those who are preoccupied with past, whether that's memories or family karma, the future, worries, fears, anything that's keeping someone from being just here now?
Well, that could be their destiny. It could be an individual's destiny to be stuck in the here now, or be stuck in a consideration of future time, imaginarily, or past time, imagining as well. What was it like in the past? Because we are consciousness itself. We're not just our heads and our minds and our sort of nasty faces and so on, and smelly bodies. We're awareness itself. See? So we are space. See? We are light and space altogether. We don't usually allow ourselves, boom. we don't usually allow ourselves to be banged like that. No, we're all of it. We're hearing, birds chirping in the distance. See? We are that. We're the perception of the bird, and the buzzing. Whatever these creatures are, critters out here, we're that too. For the moment, we are that. It's our consciousness. We are perceiving our consciousness as that. See? I'm not saying it's a metaphysical paradox particularly, but this is what life is. Life is perception, life is being, and life is total. Total. So earlier we were talking about life and death, and this is the mix. The mix. This is dying and living at the same time. See? And knowing people who have passed, and maybe even creating people who are coming, creating the future.
My question is, how can a monastic approach either help somebody or give someone a certain clarity? How does it work for certain beings?
Well, if you're talking about quieting the mind, that's obvious. Quiet the mind, depending on what you mean by monastic, like a monastery situation. All the monasteries have their different concepts and ideas about how to use the space that you're in the monastery. Say what to do, what not to do. You know, you have the theater of discipline in the monastery. But the idea of the monastery in terms of quieting is to enable you to have deeper perception and maybe intuitive perception, or the ability then to access what I call the inner master, which is a dimension of everyone's consciousness. Right? That which knows that it knows and does what it does impeccably, despite your personality, despite your, let's say, goodness or badness, despite your character. This thing is perfection built into us all. Right? So some would call it the perfection of the wisdom of being. And we each have that, so there's potential for each of us to develop into a teacher, guru, a wise person, an elder, a shaman, a healer. All of that is built into us when we're ready. Each one of us is living to die, and we are dying to live at the same time. Who are you, really? What are you, really? Who? What? Thank you.